On a dark and stormy Halloween night, a young boy named Timmy was walking home from trick-or-treating with his best friend, Jimmy. As they walked, they talked about all of the fun they had had that night. They had gotten a lot of candy, and they had even played a few pranks on some of the other kids, but the best part of the night, they both agreed, was when they had scared the pants off of old Mrs. Johnson by dressing up like dinosaurs and roaring at her as she walked by. They both laughed at the memory, and then Timmy said something that would change their lives forever. "You know what would be even cooler than that," Timmy said, "if we could dress up like dinosaurs and scare people driving by in their cars." Jimmy thought about it for a minute, and then he got an evil grin on his face. "That would be awesome," he said, "but we would need some dinosaur masks." "I know where we can get some," Timmy said. "My cousin has a couple that he uses for his Halloween costume. We can borrow them." Jimmy was all for it, and so the two boys hatched a plan. They would wait until it was late at night, when everyone was asleep, and then they would put on their dinosaur masks and go outside to scare people driving by. The next night, Timmy and Jimmy put their plan into action. They snuck out of their houses after their parents were asleep, and they met up in the park near Timmy's house. They put on their masks, and then they started to roar. At first, nothing happened, but then, after a few minutes, a car came driving down the road. The boys waited until it was close, and then they both jumped out in front of it, roaring as loud as they could. The car screeched to a halt, and the driver honked his horn. Timmy and Jimmy both ran away laughing, and they didn't stop until they got home. The next morning, Timmy and Jimmy were both in for a surprise. As they walked to school, they saw that all of the cars on the road had big, green dinosaurs on them. It was like the whole world had been taken over by dinosaurs. When they got to school, all of their friends were talking about the dinosaurs. They all wanted to know where the boys had gotten their masks, and Timmy and Jimmy just grinned and said that they couldn't tell. Later that day, after school was out, Timmy and Jimmy were walking home when they saw a news van parked in front of Timmy's house. They went over to see what was going on, and they saw that their parents were being interviewed by a reporter. "What's going on?" Timmy asked. "The whole city is in an uproar," his mother said. "All of the cars have been vandalized with dinosaur stickers. We think that your Timmy and his friend Jimmy might be behind it," his father said. "We just can't imagine where they would have gotten the masks." Timmy and Jimmy looked at each other and grinned. They knew that they would never tell their parents where they had gotten the masks. It was their little secret, and they were going to keep it that way.